What's up everybody, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to take a look at this 2022 Dodge Challenger RT. Big shout out and thank you to Feeney, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram for providing this new muscle car for today's video. Definitely take a look at their website, linked down below. And the model that we're looking at today is the RT Plus, finished off in Hellraisin, and has an MSRP at $49,000. Underneath the hood of the Dodge Challenger RT, you're going to find a naturally aspirated 5.7 liter Hemi V8. This 8-cylinder engine pumps out 376 horsepower with 410 pound-feet of torque. It's paired to an 8-speed automatic transmission and sends all the power to the rear wheels. With a curb weight around 4,200 pounds, you can expect 0 to 60 in about 5 seconds, 0 to 100 in a little over 12 seconds, and it'll top out around 141 miles per hour. This car runs on an 18.5 gallon fuel tank, and you're looking at 16 miles per gallon in the city with 25 out on the highway. The overall length is 197.9 inches with wheelbase at 116.2. Overall height is 57.7 and width is 75.7 inches. And then now moving on to the exterior styling with the 2022 Challenger RT. This Hellraisin color is a really nice deep purple, really complements the muscle car design. If we move up front, you can see these really nice retro looking headlights finished off in a round design. They are all LED. You can see Challengers written on the one side of the grille with a nice brushed aluminum accent, and then we get the red RT logo. We do have functional openings on the inside headlights. You can actually make them functional air ducts if necessary. Pretty sweet to see that. Down below, we have a really large lower grille to allow maximum cooling to the radiators, and you also see LED fog lights. We get a really large trim spoiler down below, finished in a black plastic material, and it really does come together to give this a pretty muscular design. Up on top of the hood, there's a functional air intake duct to allow cool air to enter into the engine bay. You can see there are really sharp lines all around it, and they fade towards the windshield. Really nice long hood to give it that muscle car vibe. The Plus trim level gets a really nice set of two-tone 20-inch wheels. They're a split 5-spoke, and then you can see how the front splitter comes towards the side, and you get a really sharp body line around this wheel arch. We get the Hemi badge finished in some chrome, and a really sharp line cutting its way all the way through the side profile. I like how flat all the body panels are. It really helps keep that retro look. Then you can see body color along the mirror as well as the door handle, and then blacked out around the windows. We get a body color roof along with a sunroof up front, and then you can see the shark fin antenna in back. Moving to the side profile, I love all these sharp lines. It really does look like a classic muscle car. It's a pretty large car for being a two-door, but it has really nice proportions in the front and in back. We get a pretty long trunk back here with a body colored lip spoiler, and you can see how the sharp lines on the side cut their way into the rear and give it a wider appearance. You can see the LED taillights finished off in red with all gloss black trim around them. Backup camera as well as a trunk button are back here with Dodge written out in chrome. Then you can see a plastic black diffuser with parking sensors and your dual exhaust. So there's a good look at the exterior styling along with some of the specifications for the 2022 Challenger RT. This color really comes together in person. I like the addition of the chrome fuel cap. With that said, we have Dodge's key fob, pretty basic. We do get remote start since it's the automatic. I go ahead and lock it and then double tap on that button. We'll give it that Hemi roar to life. Really meaty sound, of course. And then going ahead and shutting it off. Definitely a nice sounding V8. With that, I can keep the key fob in my pocket. All I have to do is grab the door handle, it'll unlock, and we can check out this interior. This particular spec gets a black and caramel interior. You're gonna see Alcantara finished in caramel, and then you get the smooth black leather all around. Moving to the door panel, finished off in black leather. It's all the way up on the top with contrast stitching, more of the smooth leather in the insert as well as the armrest with a little bit of padding. You have your grab handle, window controls and mirror controls, release handle down below that with memory seating. There's storage up front and in back. And then moving inside, we get power controls on the left side of the seat for forwards, back, and lumbar, and then manual recline. At the seats now, we get really smooth, nice black leather with all this micro suede Alcantara material. It is perforated in the center, and it has the smooth on the side. Really cool looking interior, especially in person. It stands out. And then we get a black leather steering wheel with perforated leather on the sides and the Dodge logo. And then now inside the RT, keeping my foot on the brake, we can go ahead and fire it up. Taking a look at the gauge cluster now, we have a digital screen in the center, an analog tack on the left, as well as a speedometer on the right, and you can control the LCD screen with the left panel on the steering wheel. So we have a digital readout, then you can scroll down and see all sorts of different vehicle information like temperatures, you can see the oil pressure, other various items like that. Scrolling down, you get performance like 0 to 60 and 0 to 100 timers, a few more drag racing setups, braking, G-force, all sorts of information. And then down below that, we have more fuel economy information, trip, audio, and then a few more items. Taking a look at the steering wheel, we have some Bluetooth and audio controls on the left, then you also get cruise control on the right. There's also a set of steering wheel mounted paddle shifters. They're only about this large, it's only on the upper portion. Under them on the backside are a few more radio controls and volume. On the left stalk, you can see the windshield wipers along with your turn signal. And then we get all the headlight controls on the left with interior lighting and your trunk button. You can see some of the stitching as well as the leather running across the dashboard. The plus trim level really does take it up a notch from the standard one. Has a really nice look. You can see Challenger is written underneath the air vent on the right. And then right in the center, we get that 8.4-inch touchscreen. Right now in performance pages, you can see your home icon with a few different items, all sorts of timers and gauges. You can really monitor a lot of performance things within this car. Really cool to see your engine. And then you also have the dyno. Tapping the apps icon, you see all sorts of other information that you can go into. You can scroll left and right. We have media on the far left, your climate controls that you can adjust very easily. Then you also have more controls in the center for heated and ventilated seats, as well as the heated steering wheel. We have settings on the far right. Then if I go ahead and put the car into reverse, your backup camera is gonna pop up. Not the best graphics, however, it's better than nothing, and we do get guidelines as well as parking sensors right in the center. And then going back into park, underneath all that, we have a few more controls like your sport mode icon. You have the super track pack, which will come up on the screen with a few more things. You can set up how you'd like your sport mode to be for traction, transmission, your shifting. Then you have launch control. You can adjust the RPM for that as well. Along with that, we have some tuning and radio controls on the right side with volume and power on the left, and then physical climate controls. You can adjust your fan speed down here, which will also come up on the screen. And then you do get dual zone temperature. Very easily, you can adjust all that. We have our shifter behind that with a leather shift boot along with a little bit of storage. It has a pretty cool design to it with manual shift mode on the shifter as well as the paddles. We get some cool metal looking plastic all around with 2 cup holders and then more of the smooth leather for the armrest. Opens up and you get quite a lot of storage space in here with 2 USB ports. And then taking a look at the glove box, you can see all sorts of space in here, very practical. And then one last look at the interior. While this is a pretty dated car, I think the Plus really does take it up a notch, and this two-tone interior really stands out. Very comfortable, nice materials, and it feels like a more premium version of this car. Up top, we get that sunroof. You can easily manually slide this open. Then we get all the controls up front with a sunglass holder, dome light, and then your mirror. The Dodge Challenger is a 5-seater car. If you grab this lever, it goes forward a little bit to get out of your way. Then you can see all the same materials in back. You get that two-tone with the micro suede and leather. An armrest will fold down in the center, and we even get climate control vents right in the center. So they're now sitting into the back seat of this Dodge Challenger. So at 5'11", I'm sitting back here pretty decent. My head is just barely touching the ceiling, and if I grab the seat and pull it back, I still have legroom and footroom with the seat set at my height. Obviously, this is probably the biggest two-door car out there, so it's nice to get genuine practicality. 3 people could actually sit back here. You do get a nice little armrest and a window. The sunroof helps out a little bit, letting more light in here. Fixed headrest back here, and you get some hooks up top. Moving on to the trunk space, you can double tap the key fob button, use the one on the interior, or just press the button on the rear end. We can lift this up. Challenger offers a ton of interior storage space, and the trunk is equally as large. Very squared off, pretty deep floor, and then a pretty tall ceiling. With the seats manually folded down, you can see just how much more storage space you're gonna get in the Challenger. The seats nearly fold down flat, and we get a pretty large opening into the actual trunk to make this really, really practical. All right, so setting off now in the Challenger RT. This is a pretty smooth car to drive, just like in the normal circumstances. We're just in normal drive mode and everything like that. You get a really good view out of the windshield. I really like how you can see part of the hood and everything. Mirrors all do a pretty good job. Over your left and right shoulder, The only hindrance really is on your right shoulder, just that C-pillar is a little on the large side. But aside from that, a pretty comfortable car to be in and just kind of normal to drive. The automatic is really smooth. You don't feel the gear changes when you're just driving it normally. And it's a pretty good point A to point B, just kind of daily driver car. However, since we have the V8 instead of just the V6, it gets a little bit more pep to its step. It's not a crazy fast car or anything like that. However, it's peppy enough to like get up on the highway, things like that, to where you can just use it all the time. And I think it's a pretty well-rounded car. With that said, we can go into the sport mode. It kind of sharpens up the gear changes, the throttle response. We can go into the manual shift mode as well. Has a really nice V8 sound to it, as you would expect from the Hemi. Well, let's go ahead and get up to some speed and kind of test out the acceleration with the car. So getting up to speed, second gear. Not bad, you know, right up to 60 without really stressing the engine. It gets there in a pretty good amount of time. Like I said, it's nothing crazy fast, not gonna break some records. If you want extra performance, of course, the Scat Pack kind of gives you that extra pep to where it really feels like a quick car. And then the Hellcat, of course, is the crazy fast car. But even in the RT, it's not a bad power plant if you just kind of want a blend of the V8 sound, enough power to get up to speed, and of course, a decent gas mileage for being in a V8. So not a bad blend. Interior itself, really comfortable. I love the seating. This color's a little funky in person, but it actually comes together nicely, especially in conjunction with the purple paint. So it's a pretty nice car to be in, and you got all the room you could need, and it's just a pretty normal daily, but with that V8. All right, so setting off now in my perspective, kind of giving you my honest thoughts of what the RT Challenger is like with the automatic. So I just finished driving in the manual RT. Certainly a fun factor. Let's get up to some speed. So with the acceleration in the 5.7, I mean, it's not going to throw you back in the seat. It's nothing crazy fast or anything like that. But I do like how it at least gives you enough power to get up to speed. I think the buyer of the RT isn't going to be the person who's super focused on performance. Me personally, I love performance. I'm used to 700-800 horsepower cars that are really, really fast. So for me, a Hellcat with modifications is my type of Challenger if I were to buy one. The RT is probably the one that the V6 is a little bit too slow. You want some muscle to it, but you're not really interested in just all-out power and performance. And you get a really good blend. It's decently economical, decently quick. You get the fun, cool V8 sounds to it, and then you get a pretty roomy car at the end of the day. So it's a really good blend, and it's nice that Dodge does offer so many different iterations of this car. From a V6, you got all-wheel drive, this one, the Scat Pack, the Hellcats, and then even bigger than Hellcats with all sorts of crazy trim levels. So it's a pretty neat concept. And like I said, you know, this one, it's going to be adequate as far as the acceleration goes, and that's a good enough. Again, don't try to race too many people because it's not insanely fast, but you know, you give it some gas even in drive. I mean, we get up there. It does carry its weight in the top end. Being a pretty brand new car, I'm not going to redline or anything, but when you do get above 4,000, it does pull pretty decent. So it is a really good just power plant for kind of the normal person who wants a little bit more than just a V6. And that sound is pretty awesome. Only real complaints, I would say, just the interior is a little on the dated side. It is really impressive though when you hop into the plus trim levels, how much nicer this is. With all this, I mean, it's fake leather on the dash, but this vinyl material with the stitching design, it really makes the interior come together and feel like something really nice, especially with the two-tone seats. You know, we have the automatic telescoping and tilting power controls on the steering column, the seats, you know, the perforations, the ventilated seats. So this trim level really does feel like a nice luxury car, sunroof, stuff like that. So I think the Plus is really well worth it. It's only like a couple $1,000s more expensive than the normal trim levels, but I think the leather seating with this micro suede just really amps it up to make it feel like a nicer car. I'd be interested to see what Dodge does for the new generation Challengers and Chargers, because I think the exterior is still spot on. Even though it's been out for over a decade now, it still just has such a good retro look. I have no complaints with the way these things look. I just like how they are that true muscle car, and they have the muscle car look to them. It's just really cool. Just the interior, they need a little bit more. But ending thoughts, like I said, I think the RT is kind of that good blend for the person who isn't crazy focused on performance. It's just kind of a well-rounded muscle car without being too overboard. So I think that is then it then with this 2022 Challenger RT, the Plus trim with the automatic. Pretty nice spec. I love the purple. It looks really cool, and I think this is a perfect interior for that exterior paint. If you guys enjoyed today's video, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Stay tuned for plenty more content to come. Throw a thumbs up our way, and then big shout out and thank you to Feeney, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram for providing this Challenger for today's video. Check out their website, link down below. I'll see you guys in the next video.